Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's your girl Fee on YouTube, and it's the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Listen, this is the Pro Boss Pro Jesus Loving channel. Over here, we talk everything boss and everything Jesus. I plug in a word where I can, when I can, which is usually all the time. Now, it's been brought to my attention by way of a quick video that I watched over there on Blue Blood Sports TV. Okay, shout out Blue. He said that he heard through the grapevine, through some PBC people over there with them folks, that Tank is looking to do 2 rematches. Now, these 2 rematches are rematches that I absolutely need to see. And if you're a true boxing head, you do too. Okay. The first one is Isaac Pitt Bull Cruz. Now, y'all remember when he fought Isaac Pitt Bull Cruz? I think it was about 3 years ago. And he said he hurt his hand in that fight, and that's why he wasn't able to knock him out. And he got quite a lot of flack for that, because he really had to lean in on his boxing skills to get the job done in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Pitt Bull Cruz, Pitt Bull Cruz got a real thick neck. You know what I'm saying? And he's a short, cocky little fella. So, and he's just a tough dude. And he just wasn't nobody that Tank was able to, knock out and rush. I feel like it would have went that way whether Tank hand was hurt or not. You know what I'm saying? Pitt Bull Cruz is just that dude. He's a tough little Mexicana. I think he's Mexican. And so I don't know if y'all remember at the presser, Calvin Ford was almost in tears saying, when y'all gonna let up on his young bull, on his young fighter, because he said y'all say that all he do is knock out people, all he got is knockout power, and he don't have no real boxing skill. And then when he has to lean on his boxing skill to get the job done, then everybody want to say, you know what I'm saying, that he wasn't all that. And I don't know if y'all remember during that presser, at post presser at the end of that fight, he was about to cry. And Floyd Mayweather had to intervene and step in and continue the defense of Tank Davis, and basically reiterate on everything Calvin Ford said concerning that fight. Because Floyd was a real Tank Davis advocate. Adrian Broner is the original, Calvin Ford is the original advocate for him, that got him where he is as far as his skills and everything. And then Adrian Broner discovered him and then brought him to Floyd Mayweather. So Tank was just destined for greatness. His divine helpers found him very early. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care how much cocky Tank want to act and be, it was the grace of God that connected him with the right people at the right time in the right places, and people that helped him get the right skills to get him to where he was at least at one point in his career. And I believe, with the right steps, the right moves like these right here, he gonna get back on top like never before. And you gonna see all the Tank, fans come out of the woodworks, especially them casuals, just really ride or die for him, But anyway, so basically, I say all that to say that was the rematch that we need that rematch. Okay, that's the first rematch we all was saying we needed, right? And he was acting like he wasn't gonna give it to us, but now it's time. So Blue say that's one of the rematches. Then Blue say the other rematch they say that he may get is the Lamont Roach rematch. Now that's the rematch, the most recent one that he gotta do that rematch. Like the way he carried on it, and just kneeling and just being awkward and all that stuff like that. And, and looking like he almost just wanted to give up because Roach wasn't laying down. And Roach was another one to come forward like Isaac Pitt Bull Cruz, tough cookie, who just wasn't going to lay down for Tank. You know what I'm saying? And had Tank's number. And we didn't know. A lot of us didn't know we knew he was pretty good, but we didn't know he was going to be that good, like we didn't expect from Pitt Bull Cruz. We thought, that both of these were just cherry picks going wrong. Well, Pitt always was kind of known to be, and Roach too, but compared to Tank, and what a lot of people thought of Tank, at the time. So anyway, Roach had Tank's number, and I believe he still got his number. The bad blood is still there, and it ain't nothing to, it done died down, but it ain't nothing for it to resurface again, because Tank said some really discouraging things towards Roach and his family, and I just think that, they ain't roaching them, ain't letting it, ain't no DC niggas don't let Baltimore niggas slide at all, and vice versa. So, that's the second rematch. So I think Blue said one of them is going to be in June or something like that. So if it is so, this is amazing. This is amazing. And then Tank needs to go on and fight Devin and Shakur. You know what I'm saying? Period. And then and then if he want to retire, then he can retire. You know what I'm saying? Then Tanky can retire after that. He said he had 4 more fights that he wanted to do, and he was acting like, and a lot of us was like it ain't gonna be the fights we want to see. We might get one we want to see out of that, and that was probably the rematch with Roach, a Ryan Garcia rematch, and a Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he was going to try to pull it to Keyshawn Davis. Those are the ones that we was thinking, anyway. We wasn't thinking like hopeful, like we're gonna go ahead and get the Shakur fight, we're gonna get the Devin fight, we're gonna get the Roach rematch, and the Isaac Pitt Bull Cruz rematch. But it's starting off good. This is a good look. Go ahead and get these 2 guys out of the way. The draw, and the other one, Pitt Bull, a lot of people felt like Roach won that fight. You know what I'm saying? So you want to know how I felt, go back and watch my video, hit like, comment, and subscribe for your girl. You want to know how I felt back then when that was going on, and with Pitt Bull Cruz too. Because I got videos on all of them. But anyway, so yeah, and another thing, shout out Modern King Boxing. He was telling me about the editing. When I get a chance to really learn how to do that editing, I am, trust me, and edit to my phone. And just right now, I just want to jump on here and talk. And I always ask y'all to be patient with me, please, and I appreciate y'all pushing me to be better, with this, and I'm coming, y'all. I promise I'm coming, just bear with me, but I appreciate the editing thing. I'm gonna see about how to work it and everything. Modern King. So shout out Modern King, who's been A1 day one supporter from the jump. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, anyway, back to what I was saying. It's just one of them days where I just don't want to be seen, and I call it the Dark Chronicles, and maybe I should start off saying that when I come on, what I'm doing, But anyway, yeah, so this is a good start to a comeback for Tank. This is the best comeback. This is the comeback I wish that Jamel Charlo would do with Tony Harrison. Jamel Charlo want to come back, and I want to really, I talked about this the other day, and I see a lot of people came out and said some of the same sentiments I said, as far as Jamel, and like I said on my other video, a week ago, or almost a week ago, the goddamn Jamel Charlo, he need to fight Tony Harrison. Ain't nobody really want to give you no chance. You are very disrespectful. I got a video breaking it down, how you go from this to that. How you go from saying you hate niggas and go from, just real treacherous mistakes you made along the way. Being real cocky, and you going talking about you going black card people is not black card. You know what I'm saying? People, first of all, it's a black card. Say you going black out people. What was he saying? He said it wrong, whatever it is. But black card people is blackball. You talking about you going black card people, which he meant to say blackball. Talking about Boo Boo Andrade, he hate him. He from Providence, Rhode Island. He ain't gonna let him get no money. Ain't nothing coming out of Providence, Rhode Island. It's talking real crazy. And he made a lot of bad moves, and when things came to a head, because we all make bad moves. We all do. We ain't got no business, But one thing that always gets you by, even when you make the worst of the worstest decisions, is humbleness, humility, and remorse. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that Jermell Charlo lacks 100%. I remember when Eddie Hearn first came onto the scene and was really with Matchroom and trying to sign everybody, all the fighters. And Jermell Charlo was one of the main ones who disrespected him. And now you talk about, hey, Eddie, it's me, Jermell, please answer my DM. Now you went from F you and I need this, I need that, to please answer my DMs. What we all got to realize is that when we up, remember that the world don't stop on you. It don't stop when bad stuff happen, when you do bad stuff, when bad stuff happen to you. It don't stop right then. It keeps going, and when it circles back round, depending on which end of reaping what you sow you on, you gonna get what's what, especially if you haven't made the necessary adjustments, apologies, practice humility and humbleness. Something that Jermell obviously, don't want to hear or try to do. He's a very unlikable character. I love Jamal. Jamel was always all our favorite fighters, but Jamal was the favorite personality. And even sometimes he missed it. But one thing we liked about Jamal is he's always willing to admit we was wrong. Versus Jamel, who's just loud and obnoxious. You know what I'm saying? And when I mean loud in, his personality and just too much, And he rubbed a lot of us the wrong way, and now we don't give a damn if we ever get a fight from him. You know what I'm saying? And then the one person that do want to give your goofy ass a chance and fight you, you don't want to fight him, and that's Tony Harrison. Like I said on my other video a week ago, you want to see some funny shit, go back and watch all those pressers. Those pressers was hilarious. He had Jermell Charlo sitting over there like a 4-year-old brat, calling him a punk, sissy, all type of shit, wearing his ass out, calling him a bitch, all type of shit that Jermell really needed to hear. You know what I'm saying? And what rubbed Tony Harrison the wrong way is after the first fight, he said Jermell came up to him and told him, whatever, that he did win this, that, and the other. Some shit Tony Harrison said, and Jermell Charlo say he ain't say that and was going off and this, that, and the other. And Tony Harrison's like, nigga, you gonna outright call me a liar? Man, I thought you was a stand-up nigga. Nah, you a bitch. And it just was downhill from there. Tony Harrison rode that nigga like a goddamn donkey in Jerusalem. You hear me? So, the animosity is obviously still there. Tony Harrison did a video calling him all types of bitches and all types of shit. Wouldn't even say his name, all type of shit. We all knew who he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because of the references he was making. So if we could get that fight, that's what I'm talking about. Now we making boxing exciting again. You know what I'm saying? Live homies. We making boxing exciting again, because the nigga need that. We need that Jermell Charlo, that Tony Harrison 3. It's 1-1 right now. We need to know who top dog for real. Even though I got to give it to Jermell Charlo. He beat Tony Harrison ass the second round in priceless fashion, but Tony Harrison had to took some losses. Since the first fight, I think his father, his trainer, had to pass. It was a lot going on with him. He kind of ain't never really recuperate really after that. But I feel like now that he's had time off, he's trained people, it's probably helping him tighten up in a way that he wasn't tight before, because he's a very intellectual fighter. He got a good ring IQ for the most part. Tony Harrison really smart in the ring, especially if he applies stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, we going to see what's what. IQ versus strength. That's what the fight was with, Jermell Charlo and Tony Harrison. So, if Jermell's smart, he going to take the fight. He going to give the people what they want to see. That's something real boxer heads want to see. Jermell Charlo want to jump out there. He want to fight arrow. He want to, and like Tony Harrison say, he don't believe no goddamn Jermell can beat arrow, and I don't either. I don't think so either. You know what I'm saying? I think Jamel will run right into Errol Spence fist, just like motherfucking what you call it did, and get beat the hell up. I can't think of his name right now. Uriah or whatever his name was. I can't think his name. Anyway, you busy trying to jump the fence and trying to jump over, your ass need to fight goddamn Tony Harrison. And then we can see about, getting boots and Fundor. He had to post a picture of the giraffe. He said he wanted Arrow. He claimed he wanted boots. You know what I'm saying? Did he post Bud? No, I don't think he said Bud name. You know what I'm saying? That's why Bud was telling him to suck his ass when he beat the shit out of Arrow, because he was sitting there looking like a spoiled little 4-year-old brat then too. When Terrence Crawford and Arrow fought. You know what I'm saying? It's because he's a fucking goofy. You know what I'm saying? Jamel is a real goofy, man. He is. And it's not because of him in life as a whole. We just talk about as far as boxing go and how he carried it. When I talk about these fighters, for the most part, it's my observation of them as fighters and how they carry themselves as fighters. If they fuck up outside of the ring, then I'll throw my little put 10 on 20 with that. You know what I'm saying? But so I don't want y'all to think, well, you don't know these people that you right. I don't know them. But that's why I'm being analytical from a point of view where I know this, where I watch this, and that's boxing. And he's obnoxious, and so that's the part where I start getting repetitive and redundant. So I'm gonna leave it alone. So anyway, y'all comment below, let me know what y'all think. Is these fights for Tank Davis? Is this what the fuck y'all talking about like me? Is we talking the same goddamn language? Because this shit get my blood going right here. We need that Isaac Pitt Bull Cruiser. We need that Lamont Roach too. We need both of those part 2s. And while we on the part 2s, shouldn't Jamel Charlo start off fighting Tony Harrison and stop being a you know what, and go ahead and get that work in with that man? Because if he beat him once, he could beat him 2 times. And the same go for Tony Harrison. And stop trying to jump the fence and trying to act like ain't nobody finna feed you boots right now. You know what I'm saying? Nobody finna feed you none of them top dogs you trying to fight right now. You throwing Arrow name around. We know you can't beat that man. You need to get your ass in there with somebody we want to see you with. And right now, that's Jamel. I'm sorry. Right now, that's Tony Harrison. Y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.